Hello, friends, and welcome to the Papa Loves You podcast. I'm here with my guest, CosmicBunnixo, and I need to undeafen and unmute. And hello, Cosmic.
Hello, how do?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Pretty good, yeah.
Wonderful. So, there's a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about today. But Cosmic, you're a non-binary streaming LGBTQIA plus advocate practicing pagan. That's a fair mouthful to say.
I was just about to say that's a pretty decent mouthful right there.
Yeah, pretty decent mouthful, eh? So yeah, I guess, do you want to maybe just talk about yourself a little bit? Just introduce yourself?
Do I even know myself at this point? That's the problem. When anyone
I mean,
asks
that is an introduction in some ways.
I mean, true. Hi, as Wookie said, I'm Cosmic, practicing pagan, LGBT, non-binary, pansexual, and advocate for the LGBT, obviously.
And just so people get it right, like, would you prefer to say what your pronouns are?
Yes, my main pronouns are they, them, but I am gender fluid, meaning that I don't particularly conform to one set of pronouns. So any pronouns are fine, but my preferred ones are they, them.
Okay. And I guess for people who maybe don't understand, do you want to give a brief description on what gender fluid is? Sorry, I'm putting you really on the spot here, but we're trying to...
No, dude, you're fine.
We're trying to educate.
So being gender fluid, honestly, any LGBTQIA identity can have slightly different meanings for the individual. It mainly depends on the individual, but for me, being gender fluid means that I can have shifts in gender. So some days I feel more feminine and I want to dress up like girly, get my makeup all done and everything. Some days I feel more masculine and I want to look that way, like wear a binder, present masculine. And some days gender's just not a thing and I will just be a chaotic gremlin and that is the gender for the day. So like I said, it does have shifts and it can change quite frequently. It doesn't have a set time or anything like that. But that's why I like to go by they, them pronouns mainly because that's always the safest option depending on what kind of day I'm having. So
yeah, I think with like pronouns and stuff as well, like if I'm not sure, I just use their name.
Yeah,
because you can't like screw up saying like, hey, Cosmic did this rather than like he did this or she did this or whatever. It's really, really hard for a lot of people, especially like me. You know, I'm a little bit older than a lot of you, and I've been around this stuff like before it was kind of more normalized and accepted, which it should be. Yeah. And it's just it's difficult to get into that habit, but the important thing is you try.
Honestly, a lot of people from the LGBT, I don't speak for particularly everybody, but I speak for a vast majority when I say that honestly, just trying to educate yourself and trying to learn about stuff like pronouns, gender identities, sexual identities, stuff like that. It means a lot to a lot of people that you just want to educate yourself and make sure that you're being respectful towards the community. That's all we really ask, to be honest. It's just be respectful towards the community.
And there's just
it's like people.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that people could, educate themselves on, and it's. I mean, that's kind of like the first topic I want to talk about is being a better ally. If you're not a member of the LGBTQIA community, that's not a problem. Like, I mean, just showing respect for other human beings and, trying to educate yourself so you can support people. Maybe you have friends who are in that community. Maybe you have coworkers or family members, and learning how to support them properly and make them feel comfortable with who they are is really important, I think.
I definitely agree. And honestly, it doesn't have to be like this massive effort. I feel like there's a misconception that people think that you have to put in a lot of effort to be supportive to the LGBT, but it's really not that much. And I feel like if you just sat down and took the time, just 5 minutes, and you can learn that it's actually pretty easy just to, it's like how you treat any other human being. All we want is respect. All we want is to be treated like other people and have the same rights and have the same approach that someone who is straight cis would have, like, if you know what I mean.
I think there's a lot of people that maybe feel that it's almost an attack on their hetero ways that they have to learn all this stuff, but you have to remember that, you know, humanity is always changing. The way people interact is always changing. And, you know, if you're not evolving, then you're about to go extinct, motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being straight. You're born that way. You can't help it. The same way as you can't help being gay. But like the reality of things is being straight is the norm. It's what's accepted. Yeah, it's the default. Thank you. Whereas obviously being part of the LGBT, even though it's more normalized these days, it's still not the default and still not as accepted as it should be.
Yeah, I don't think that anything should really be the default. You know, you're a human being, or, you know, you're, I guess, not a human being, I guess. Like,
you could be a chaotic gremlin like me.
Yeah, nothing wrong with being a chaotic gremlin. You know, that's fun. You got to have a bit of fun with this stuff. But
exactly.
Like, I guess that brings to the question we were asked on Twitter by Sarah, Waffles Kinda Gal. Hi, Cosmic. First question: will you marry me? Yes. Second question: what would you say to any kids or preteens that are maybe scared or unsure about coming out themselves as LGBTQIA+?
So, it's always a difficult thing to come out as LGBT because you're worried about being accepted, you're worried about how people are going to react and everything like that. If it's in a home situation, I definitely gauge how, if you're living with your parents, for example, like if you're a bit worried about how your parents react, I would definitely try and gauge how they view the LGBT. Because obviously in a situation where you want to come out to your parents and they're extremely homophobic, for example, that's not going to end up being it's not going to result in the way that people want it to, and it's unfortunate. It shouldn't be that way, but the top priority is to keep yourself safe. I definitely say, for example, if you do have a unaccepting family, definitely get a safe space where you can open up and come out and be open about being LGBT, because there's nothing worse than hiding who you are, and you shouldn't have to hide who you are.
There's kind of a spectrum between the two of, you know, being loud and proud and also having a private life. You know, so not everyone wants to. I think it's wrong to force people to want to come out as well. No, I think it's, you know, if you want to come out, you come out. If you don't, you don't. But again, just touching on what you said about safety, you have to make sure it's a safe environment too, because, you know, it's all well being proud of yourself and, you know, learning about yourself, but if it's going to cause you harm, like, maybe you have to kind of hold off a little bit. I'm not saying don't be that person. You're always going to be that person. That's who you are. But, you know, you just have to be very careful. I just want people to be safe. That's all.
That's honestly the same. I don't want to give anyone any advice that's going to cause them to be in unsafe situations. So this is the thing. If you're a person who does want to come out as LGBT, please make sure you do it in a safe environment that you know, or at least are almost completely sure that you're not going to get harsh lashback. Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation that's going to cause you, say, for example, your parents kick you out because they find out you're gay or something like that. That's something you definitely want to avoid, and it's an issue that it's a very controversial issue, because let's be honest, parents should love and accept their child for no matter who they are, but some parents don't. Some parents are extremely homophobic and will not accept their child if they come out as LGBT. So that's a situation you want to avoid. But I mean, if you know your parents are accepting of LGBT, come the fuck out if you want to. Like, if you want to tell your parents, hey, I'm gay, you know, I'm proud of you for doing that. Like, that's such an amazing thing to be able to say to people, hey, I'm gay, or I'm part of the LGBT in any way, shape, or form.
But also, but again, if you want to be private about it and keep it to yourself, but still be in touch with yourself as a person, then we're proud of you too. Like,
yeah, exactly.
There's no specific way you're supposed to come out. There's no specific way that this is supposed to go. You're finding out who you are. It's a journey. It's not just a Twitter post, you know?
No. I completely agree with that. No matter how a person chooses to express their individuality, sexuality, gender identity, any of that stuff, it's valid. As long as you're doing it in a safe manner that you're comfortable with, that's all that's important.
You can be whoever you want as long as you're not harming others.
Exactly. I could not agree more with that statement.
Unless it's consensual harm. But yeah,
We don't
It's a whole
kink shame
different
here.
thing. Well, we
Don't
do
kink
with some
shame here.
kinks, but not all. There's a couple out there I'm sure I'd probably shame.
Please.
Okay. I'm trying to think where we go next, honestly. That was some good answers, though. Have I ever told you about how I came out to my mother?
No,
Oh,
actually.
it's fucking
I don't think I've heard the
hilarious.
story. Let's
We
hear it.
were out, we're going for lunch and stuff, and I was like, "Look, Mum, I have something to tell you," and she's like, "Oh fuck, what is it?" And I'm like, "I'm pansexual," and she's like, "Okay, but what are we having for lunch?" She gave no fuck. She's like, "Okay, you're still my son. I don't give a fuck. Like, are we getting sushi or what?"
Great, now I want sushi.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. See, I love that kind of reaction. It's just like, okay. Personally, I feel like the best reactions are always like, I already knew. I was just waiting for you to come out. Because I had that with my friends back when I came out, and they were like, we know. Like, it's quite freaking obvious that you're gay, dude. Like, it's not a secret.
I mean, it's just sorry, I was opening the can of juice and I had to mute it there. It's just it's always funny. Some people have like really positive, hilarious stories. Some people really don't, and we have to sympathize with those people. And
100%.
This channel, everyone in the Gravekeepers channels, all of that, we all support you. It's a safe place for all of you to be, no matter who you identify as. Unless you're a map, you can fuck off.
Yep.
But like beyond that, be yourself. Just try and find out a bit more about yourself. And if you're straight, just try and be accepting. Try and learn a bit. If you have friends, relatives, family, co-workers that are part of that community, don't hold that against them. That's not fair. They can't control that any more than you can control how many toes you have. I mean, you could cut them off, but you know what I mean. So, yeah.
Why would you want to cut off your toes, though?
Maybe
that's
shoes. You just can't fit into shoes you want.
Well, so you just cut off your toes to make your shoes fucking fit better?
Yeah, just get a Dremel out, Anyway, on that note, I mean, I guess, what else do you want to talk about, honestly?
Well, you did actually mention about how to be a better ally. We could touch on that subject.
Yep.
So something that I do want to talk about is misgendering. I feel like there's a lot of controversy about misgendering somebody that I would like to talk about, if that's okay with you. So
the floor is yours.
Okay. Why, thank you. So this is the thing, right? Say, for example, you've got a friend who is non-binary, trans, anything like that, and they don't conform to their assigned sex. And you want to learn how to gender them correctly. And mistakes happen. So I'm going to throw that out there right now. Mistakes do happen. If you're learning a friend's new pronouns and getting used to them, a lot of the times people do understand that it's an adjustment. So say, for example, you have a friend that is transitioning to male, and you've been so used to, like, you grew up with them, they were a childhood friend, and you were so used to calling them she. A lot of the time they understand that switching from the she to the he can like be a little bit, like, it takes some time, basically. But this is the thing, when people tend to accidentally misgender somebody, something I've noticed is people make a big deal about it. And honestly, that's not necessary. Like, if you misgender somebody, it's best to talk to your friend that you've misgendered. It's like, hey, how would you want me to approach this if I do accidentally misgender you? But a lot of the times you can just say, oh, sorry, correct the pronoun, and then move on. A lot of the time people make like a big fuss and dance about it, like, oh, sorry, I wasn't thinking, oh, sorry, like this excuse. It's like, you don't need to make excuses, you don't need to give reasoning. All you have to do is correct the pronoun, say that you're sorry, and move on. And that, honestly, a lot of the time is all you need to do. But it's really important to talk to your friend that you do misgender, or
I think it's really apparent with tone. You can tell from tone if it's like, something that's really malicious, or if it's a genuine accident.
No, definitely.
And, they straight up be like, take my firstborn child for the error of my ways. Exactly. It's a bit dramatic. I mean, I've I've been guilty of it a couple of times in the past where I've accidentally, maybe someone I've known for a long time is one particular gender. It's like it drilled into your head. It's
It does.
relearning, and
You get
by
accustomed to things.
yeah, and by learning that you're supporting them.
Yeah.
And by
exactly.
going through that period of adjustment, like learning to say he instead of she or they instead of her or whatever is way less of an adjustment than that person is going through.
Yeah. I could not agree more.
And you just have to be supportive. That's all. But yeah, like, I absolutely agree. I think not making a big fuss about it, like, it's about making them feel comfortable with who they are.
And the more fuss you make about it, the more you're going to make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee that is if you're making a big song and dance about how you're so sorry and that you genuinely feel bad and everything like that, like, I promise it's going to make them more uncomfortable than anything. Your intentions might be good, and that's fantastic that you have good intentions and you don't genuinely want to misgender your friend, but I promise you just a simple, oh, sorry, correct yourself and move on is the best way to go about it, because then people aren't dwelling on the fact that you were misgendered, if that makes sense.
Like, people make mistakes, things like that happen, and like,
yeah,
you just gotta own up to your shit, take it on the chin, and move on. Like a lot of things, like you can be wrong about stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, we're humans. We're not always perfect. Like, we make mistakes, we make errors, and that's fine. You just move on from them. You make up for them, move on from them. It's as simple as that.
Look at that dog just...
He so clearly wants to be part of this podcast.
He's having the best time. He's like begging a little bit, ears up. He's such a cutie.
He's like, I'm the main event here. He knows for a fact he's the main event, and he can never not be the main event.
He's your dog. He's your boy.
He's my baby boy, aren't you? You're a good boy.
So yeah, paganism.
Yes. Is that a subject you'd like to get onto now?
Sure, I want to learn it. We've talked about this before in private and stuff, and it's pretty cool. Like, I'm always fascinated by, people's like beliefs and all that. I mean, personally, me, I'm agnostic. I'm a massive skeptic about stuff, but there are some people out there who are pagans that if they're like, I'm going to cast a hex on you, I'm like, oh shit, I'm fucked.
I mean, I find, honestly, other people's beliefs... I'm sorry, I can't concentrate because of him right now. I find other people's beliefs very interesting and very, fascinating to learn about other people's beliefs, how they view the world and everything like that. And a big topic is how, obviously, other religions think, like, what happens after you die and stuff, and, what kind of, like, rules you have to follow, because, obviously, in a lot of religions, you do have to follow, like, certain rules and guidelines to kind of be respectful. So for example, for me as a pagan, I don't kill anything unless, obviously, for example, if I was living not in the conform societal way and I was like hunting for food and stuff like that, I wouldn't kill anything unless it was for sustenance, because as a pagan, I worship the earth, I worship, obviously, the gods. I personally follow Celtic and Greek, as well as Norse. So Norse, because what's great about paganism is you don't have to conform to one pantheon if you don't want to. For the longest time, I thought I had to conform to one pantheon, but I follow 3 pantheons, mainly Norse and Greek, but I do really enjoy the Celtic pantheon. So I like to research into, obviously, the different kind of things that go on in each pantheon, the gods that come with each pantheon and everything like that, and I respect all of them. Try and do my research on all of them, because there is a lot of research. Like, being pagan comes with a lot of research and a lot of education. Like, the amount of books that I've read and time I've spent practicing and everything like that, it takes a lot of time. And like I said, there's certain rules, there's certain stuff that you have to follow. So I don't kill unless it would be for food. So I'm not a vegetarian or anything like that. I do eat meat. But I wouldn't, like, say, for example, I see a rat in my home, I just get rid of it. I wouldn't just kill it, because that's that's against me, my religion personally, for example.
I mean, a lot of it's like kind of almost just nerding out over cool belief systems, that's kind of cool.
True, honestly. The amount of books that you can get, there's a lot of really amazing authors. And like I said, I personally don't believe that to pagans, and not even just pagans, witches in general, if you're someone who practices of witchcraft, no two people who practice paganism or witchcraft are the same.
Yeah.
They all have different beliefs. They all have different paths that they follow and practice their crafts differently. And it's wonderful to see, because then you find out so much more cool stuff by talking to other people who practice paganism or witchcraft.
This is cool. That's cool. Like, personally, like, I'm just I don't know. That's
valid.
Yeah. Not everyone has to have the same belief system, but, you know,
No, they don't.
again, back to what we touched on about being a better ally and stuff, you have to be supportive of people and what they want to do.
Exactly. Honestly, the best way to be a good person is just, you know, not be an asshole if someone has a different belief to you or has a different lifestyle, or don't be a dick. It's as simple as that.
So yeah, that's cool though. Like, I mean, you do like casting and stuff like that, which is really pretty cool.
You're basic level, yes. I'm still very basic levels at the moment.
You're dipping your toes.
Yeah, dipping my toes. I'm still on the research phase, because the last thing I want to do is like put a protection spell jar or something and end up being a hex on myself to, you know, bring bad luck for God knows how many years. Like,
everywhere you go, there's a ball sack.
I'm gonna have nightmares about that now.
Open a cupboard, there it is. You know, you go, you open the washing machine, you reach in, there's a ball sack.
Just wake up in ball sacks.
If there is a hex like that, though, can you cast that on Boris Johnson, please? Just out of interest.
I would absolutely love to do that.
Ball sacks? Just everywhere he goes. Opens a book, ball sack.
I know a few hexes. Personally, there are a few hexes, but I've not used them on anybody because I'm not getting into chaos magic just yet, because it can go bad really quickly. But I'll let you know if I ever do cast a hex.
You can practice on me if you want. You want to cast a hex on me? Go for it.
Please. Why would I ever wish ill will on someone I hold so dear in my life?
Because it'd be fun. It's consensual. I'm kidding here. Don't actually hex me. Don't hex me, please.
I'm not planning on it.
I think that's pretty cool. I think we maybe ask chat if they've got any questions or anything about anything in particular, and consent is sexy. I agree, Cheesecake. Like, the sexiest thing is getting consent. Like, legitimately getting consent. It's a go.
I mean, having someone being so enthusiastic about, you know, participating, shut up, participating in certain acts with you. Someone be like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Like, chef's kiss. Beautiful. That's what you want. And if it's any less than that, I'm walking away. Goodbye.
I mean, like, maybe is no.
Yeah,
no is
exactly.
No. I kind of
anything over.
Yes, it's still no. Like, fucking
anything over than a fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah,
you know, the great old classic saying, unconscious people don't want tea if you grew up British.
It's true.
The tea
unconscious
video.
people don't want tea.
Unconscious
they might want to get woken
people
up.
Don't want tea.
Hey, bro, are you all right there? You want a cup of tea? Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, why not? So, any questions, anyone? Anyone got anything they want to ask either of us about anything at all?
Or Oreo, because he's clearly a part of this.
Yeah, or Oreo. Anyone got questions for Oreo? No? Nothing? That's cool. That is fine. I mean, we did cover quite a bit there.
We did.
Very quickly.
I was going to say, we went through our topics very fast there.
Yeah. I mean, we can... Oreo, would you like a treat, is the question we have here.
I think all my other treats are in the other room. Should I go get your treats?
Oh.
Should I go get your treats?
Oh.
What do you reckon? Should I go get his treats from the other room?
You should get his treats from the other room. You absolutely
Come on then,
should.
let's go get your... Come on, get down then.
Look at that boy.
Get down then. I'll go get his treats from the other room. Give me a hot...
Look at that tail. He's such a cute dog. Like, just continuing and stuff on just being supportive of people in general. I mean, there's so many different ways you can support someone, and just listening to them I think is a really good way, and that's regardless of what it's about. Sorry, I'm choking on my San Pellegrino. Give me a moment. Cosmic leaves for 30 seconds and I choke on my beverage. Good move. Oh, he's stoked.
Making a bunch of noise. My question is how badly do you want to see some of his tricks?
Do it. Do it.
Give chat a real treat here. Right, need to move the chair out the way so you guys can actually see him. Okay, Oreo, can you reach? Look at him, he's so good. Can you sit? Sit. Okay, Oreo, spin. Good boy. Okay, can I have a high five? That's a high 10. That's not the right one.
He's overachieving because he thinks he might get more treats.
He does. Sit. Okay, high five. High 10. Good boy. You've moved your bed completely out of its corner, right? Lay down. Down. You don't like this one, do you? Down. Good boy. And I've got some cheeky tunes for him. So we'll stop begging for attention for 5 whole minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Then it's going to be straight back for attention. Okay, all right, up.
Oh.
Reach. That's
he's like, I'm doing all the things, reach. Give me it.
Right, nicely. And that is him occupied for the next 5 minutes.
I guess another thing we can talk about is kind of between mental health and content creation and like how to handle certain things.
Yeah,
I think
I'm definitely
both had things recently where we've had a tough time and maybe should have done something about it and didn't, or waited too long to do something. I think
definitely waited too long on my part.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know, like Cosmic's been on a bit of a hiatus for a little bit. Things were getting a bit much, and that's fair. Things do get a bit much sometimes. It's an exhausting thing.
It definitely is. People definitely mistake content creation for a very easy thing when in reality you're putting everything you can. I mean, just being able to hit the live button and just talk to a camera for 3 hours straight while trying to play a game can be mentally exhausting because you want to make sure you're entertaining, you want to make sure that you're giving enough energy, and then there's obviously everything that goes into setting up, there's everything that goes into editing to try and, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Branch yourself out really to other platforms so you're more discoverable and everything like that. There's a lot that goes into it, but even just something as simple as hitting that live button and knowing that people have got their eyes on you while you're just trying to, you know, be entertaining can be quite nerve-wracking in my opinion.
It is. It takes a lot out of you emotionally as well. Just
it really does.
Because a lot of it, you're being yourself times 10 for an extended period of time, and you're like over-exaggerating your persona. Like you're not being a fake person or anything. You're just being you.
You're putting more energy in, yeah. You're definitely putting your full amount of energy in rather than just say, for example, if you're gaming with your friends, you're more relaxed, you're off screen and everything like that. But the second that you're on screen and trying to be entertaining, that you're definitely putting more energy in to be like, hey guys, come on, watch this, because, you know, I'm putting in 110% effort at all times for the next at least 3 hours or however long you stream for. Some people go for like 6 hours straight at once, and I'm like, dude, how the fuck do you do that?
Depends what you're doing. Like for me, longer streams are, if I'm just having fun, I'll forget about time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like some days I get really tired very easily due to being chronically ill. And that's when I start noticing time more. But the second that I feel all right in myself, I'm not looking at the time. I'm not thinking about how much time I have left to stream or anything like that, because I do genuinely enjoy streaming, but on days where my whole body freaking hurts, it's kind of difficult to concentrate and be able to put genuine effort and energy into a stream.
It's hard sometimes. Even without a chronic illness and stuff, it can be tough.
Oh yeah, no.
And like, props to you for
100% agree.
Pushing through that and getting it done. You go live quite a lot. You know, you pump a lot of content out there.
I definitely try, and I feel like it's definitely really healthy to say I need a break. because I think without my hiatus, I would have burnt myself so hard into the ground that I might have even quit. Like it got that serious to me to that point that I had considered leaving content creation because I was that burnt out at the time. And it wasn't the fact that I wasn't enjoying it. It's just the thought of the effort I would have to put in was draining me because I couldn't give the effort I wanted to, meaning that I wasn't putting the effort I needed to in, and it was like circle around in a vicious cycle like that, which was really draining and burning me out.
I mean, it gets exhausting. You tire yourself out. You force yourself through. That gets you more exhausted. You tire yourself more out, and it just gets brutal sometimes. And
I'd agree.
like it's kind of the reason why I've started this podcast, and I've started doing music stuff again. All that is like I'm trying to branch out a little bit, get a bit of variety into my brain, so I'm always on my toes and I'm not like overthinking anything. Like those gremlins in your brain are motherfuckers.
Yeah, they love to make you fucking overthink and exhaust yourself out, don't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they get stuck in a rut with it, and
yeah,
they do the same thing every single stream, and then they just get fed up because maybe it's not growing, or maybe they're just bored of that one thing, but people expect it from them. Like it's tough.
Yeah.
There's so many different things you have to balance. Like you're your own manager, you're your own like promotional staff, you're your own hype person, you're your own editor, you're your own visual consultant. You do all these things just to sit there for a few hours playing a game and talking to people, and people don't think about that.
People don't think about what goes on in the background of it. And I really agree with what Alia Diwali put. It's hard when things start to feel like a chore when they should be fun or used to be fun.
Yeah.
Because that's biggest mood right there is when something that you used to enjoy becomes a chore and becomes you have to do it rather than you want to do it. That's when the enjoyment dies altogether. And like you said, look, you're doing all the jobs at once and people are thinking that you're just hitting that live button. People don't think about the effort of setting up your OBS or the time it takes to set up panels and information and socials, getting links together, making sure like a lot of streamers have Discord servers. That takes time, that takes effort. You want to create a safe space for your community to enjoy themselves and be comfortable in, and a lot of work goes into that. And then you're, like you said, you're editing, you're putting yourself on other social media platforms to branch yourself out, to make yourself discoverable so other people can come to your stream. And it can get very tiresome, especially when you're not seeing results from that. Personally, I don't like to look at my numbers. I like to just stream. And it's okay if you do look at numbers. Streamers that look at numbers are no less valid than people who don't look at numbers.
Everyone's motivated by different things.
Exactly.
Some people are motivated by seeing a thing incrementally grow.
Yeah.
Incrementally. There we go.
Yeah. Personally, for me, even if I'm streaming to one person, if that one person is enjoying the content, I know it's been a successful stream. But not everybody has that mindset. Some people want to grow. Some people want to be able to get to the point where they could become full-time content creators and live solely off Twitch. And that's a valid way to think. That's a valid way to feel. Like everyone has different determinations and different reasons why they're on Twitch, but then as the viewer, it's your choice whether you want to decide you want to hang out in someone's stream that's pushing to be a full-time content creator, or someone who's just streaming to hang out and chill and play games. Like it's down to the viewer what kind of content they want to watch, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it's important not to put pressure on yourself to do a specific thing.
Yeah,
like reach a specific goal, because sometimes you might not be successful in that one particular thing, but you might be super successful in something else. And definitely experimenting and like keeping it varied at times. There's times where there's a lot of people playing the same game right now, and a lot of people, like, without calling anyone out or the game or whatever, like a lot of people are just sick of it. They can't be bothered playing it, but that's what their chats expect.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
They're almost trapped. And it sucks. It's brutal.
I had that problem because I used to be, as much as I still love the game, I used to be a sole Phasmophobia content creator where all I would play is Phasmophobia. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely adored the game still. It's just, it got to a point where it became a chore to play that game, and it's what my chat expected. And again, that was what became unenjoyable to me, was because it was a chore, and I didn't feel like I could play anything else without, losing people. And nowadays I'm just like, I'll play what I want. Don't get me wrong, it's been particularly one game at the moment, but that's because I'm genuinely enjoying that game and genuinely, flourishing with it and everything like that. And it might happen with that game too. It might not. It's just obviously about seeing. I've definitely fell in the trap of, I felt like I had to play the one game over and over and over every single stream, and it killed me off, man, because it made me not enjoy that game as much anymore. It became a chore for me, and it made me bored more than anything else, and it made me then not enjoy what I was doing. And that was I really had to force myself out of.
And that's emotionally and mentally exhausting. It's just,
Yeah.
and the amount of time you put into everything else and you push that on top of it all, it's a bit much, you know?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people use the one game at the start to try and grow, and I'm sure for some people with some games it's easier to grow with one thing.
Yeah.
But I could never do that. I've never been one to stick to one particular game forever and do that. I can't do that. I cannot do that. Like, my brain would just not allow that. I wouldn't even go live if I just had to play one thing all the time. I'd just be like, nah.
Yeah. Because again, it just becomes a chore at that point.
Yeah. And to me,
it becomes something you enjoy anymore.
Yeah, and to me, I always want it to be something that's, fun. I couldn't give a fuck if I reach partner or whatever. I'm here to have fun and make friends, and I've made some cool friends.
Yeah, Twitch really has. No, you.
No, you.
No, you. Like, honestly, Twitch has so many wonderful people within its community in different areas. Honestly, I feel like it depends on what kind of side of Twitch you're on. It's like a lot of social medias. It's like if you're on TikTok, for example, you're on a different side to TikTok than what other people are on. It's the same with Twitch. Like, obviously, outside of Twitch is horror content creation, being LGBT, being, mentally ill in some way, shape, or form, let's be honest. It's just our side of Twitch. And it's a wonderful side of Twitch. And that's nothing against the other sides of Twitch, because there's some pretty fucking awesome people on that side too. It's just the people that I've met in our area of Twitch, I've absolutely adored.
Yeah.
Like, I could not be more grateful for the people that I have become close with or grown with, for example. Like, the communities that I take part in and consider myself a good part in, including my own, could not ask for better people in them.
Isn't it mad that, like,
it is,
the horror side is like the most fucking wholesome bunch of people,
right?
Like, is it just that we're all just desensitized to brutality, and then all there is left is just like, hey, I like your hat?
Or it's just we hate ourselves so much that we try and play games that force us to scream.
I mean, I'm kind of a masochistic gamer, I guess, but
I feel that.
That's just how it is. I think to anyone that's maybe like burning out and stuff, don't be ashamed to take a break. A lot of people, if you're upfront about it, will be super supportive of that. And yeah, you might have a few drops in numbers for a couple of days. And people will remember you and be like, oh shit, they're live again, let's go.
They're back, hello?
Yeah.
But can I intervene with something there, Look? I feel like if the people who say, oh, I'm just going to drop off because you're taking a break for your mental health, for example, so I'm not going to support you anymore. Do you really want people like that within your community? If someone can't support that you need to take a break for yourself, if someone can't support you for putting your own needs first, then that's not the kind of person that you want to keep around, because that's not someone who truly supports you as a person, not a content creator. Because I feel like a lot of the time people forget that content creators are real people with the same emotions as everybody else. Apparently.
Fuck.
Have you not heard? Sorry to break it to you, man.
Fuck, I'm a person. Well, that's the bombshell shell for today. I'm gonna have to deal with that now. To figure out what I'm doing.
Listen, you said you wanted gritty. This is gritty.
This is gritty. It's gritty. Like, I think, especially me, I'm really guilty of not taking that time for myself at times. Like, I'm really bad for it. Like, but
I feel that.
A lot of it, a lot of what I do on Twitch and like how I create content and like how often I do that is me keeping the gremlins at bay. It's keeping me occupied.
Yeah, I definitely understand that feeling. I feel like when you can focus on something else, it can help, but at the same time, you've always got those little gremlins niggling in the back of your mind, like
They're always there.
Yeah. Like no matter what, even if you're doing something that's so rivetingly exciting that you're not concentrating at all, they're still there like, hey, you know, I think you suck. And it's like, well, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I think I suck too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I also want to address something quickly. Someone commented under Waffles Kind of Gal's question on Twitter. I just want to say to you, my friend, go fuck yourself. Good.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
It was kind of vaguely homophobic and kind of subtweety, and I can't be arsed with that shit. I don't have time for that.
No.
They can fuck off. Like it's a valid set of questions. Go away. I don't want you here.
Yeah, I mean, that no one's forcing homophobes to be in LGBTQ spaces. So if you're offended about LGBTQ people existing, you know, maybe just get out the LGBTQ space because you're not welcome there. Like, no one's forcing you to be here, dude. You can literally just, you know, there's the door. Don't let it slam your ass on the way out.
Unless you're into that. Then let it.
Unless you're into that.
It's just funny. There's such a weird parallel between people like that and I don't want that in my area. And it's like, but it's not in your area. You're actively seeking it out to complain about it. What's your problem?
Exactly.
Why are you so obsessed with it?
Why are you so obsessed with me? Sorry. Easily distracted. But no, I completely agree. Like, if you're seeking out problems and going into LGBT spaces to seek out problems and say, hey, I don't agree with that. It's like, okay, do you have anything better to do with your time, or is trolling on Twitter all you have to do with yourself? You know?
Yep. It's fucking stupid. It's like the whole... God, I said I wasn't going to go on about this like months ago, but there was that whole Twitter thread that I ended up getting involved in about vasectomies.
Mm-hmm.
I was just fucking blown away by what people were saying. And like, I agree that, yeah, there needs to be much more, like in heterosexual sexual contact, there needs to be more onus put on the guy to bring protection, to provide that.
Yes.
It shouldn't always have to be hormonal, all that. But again, people saying just because there's misinformation about it is more that what pissed me off than anything else. That vasectomies are reversible. No, not all of them are reversible, my friend.
It really depends on, you know, the surgery itself. It depends on a lot of different factors.
The non-invasive one is not reversible. So think about that. Like,
but I do agree with the opening up to guys taking more responsibility in heterosexual relationships, because it shouldn't always be on the woman. As someone who's been in straight passing relationships and has been on birth control, it messes you up pretty fucking badly. And, you know, it could have all just been solved by a different form of like birth control or something like that, or, you know, a discussion, rather than it being solely on a woman to protect herself. Because this is the thing, like, people are saying, obviously, oh, if you get pregnant, like, that's your responsibility and everything like that. Well, it's like, it takes two people to tango. It takes two people to make a baby. So,
half your fucking DNA's in there, mate. Like, explain that.
Yeah, exactly.
Explain yourself, motherfucker. Explain yourself.
Exactly.
I mean,
like,
that's the reason I got a vasectomy. My wife was having trouble with hormonal stuff, and hormonal birth control can be horrendous to, you know, female hormone levels.
Yep.
It's brutal. It's really fucking brutal. And
especially if you're on other medications as well.
I just don't understand, like, how people just kind of turn a blind eye to that. It's fucked up. It really fucks me off. But again, really vasectomies, not always reversible, my friend. It's not a be-all thing. You can't surgically alter all men to make them sterile until later. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. If it did, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
If it purely works like that, then, you know,
fucking right, let's go.
Right?
When I got mine though, the doctor was like, you know, this is not reversible. You will not be able to get this reversed. And I'm like, hell yeah, cut my balls. Let's go.
Sorry, the way you say things just gets me every time.
I like comics hair. Few likes your hair, Cosmic.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
But I think
sorting out it's being a dick.
Sorting out it's being a dick.
Yeah, it just won't sit right today. It's like every time I'm doing something important, it's like, bad hair day. I think so. So
you need an in-house, like hair person. Get them on the payroll, like just in case.
Yeah,
just get them like a little granny flat underneath, and just. Yo, my hair! Oh fuck, I'm coming! Like on a retainer.
I mean, if I'm going for hair, might as well hire a fucking makeup artist as well, because that gets annoying.
Oriole's like, I'll do it.
He will get paid in treats and nothing more.
Oh, the ear.
And nothing less.
He's like, did you say that?
You just want to get more treats out of me, don't you, buddy?
The head tilted a little. Is that word like a trigger word for him?
Treats.
Oh my god.
Or reach. Come on. I know you want to. I'm hitting myself in the head. Oh yeah. Go on, reach. Boy. I wonder why I have scratch marks in my chair and then I do stuff like that.
because you have a giant dog that's climbing it all the time to get treats. He's so cute.
Listen, that's how he gets my attention. You know, if he really has to go outside to the bathroom and he can't get my attention anyway, he'll either jump up at the walls or he'll jump up at the chair and he'll just like kind of throw his head about like, oi, get up. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yo, dog parent. I need poo. Please let me poo.
Oh, we've gone off subject here.
Hey, that's kind of the point.
True.
Totally not biting for time at all. Not even slightly.
Of course not. Would never think of that of you. But no, kind of circling back to what you were saying before, I agree that we shouldn't be promoting vasectomies on males if not all of them can be reversed, because, it's, if you want to have kids someday and it's like, oh, I've had my fucking balls snipped and now I can't, that's not going to be the greatest outcome. But I do feel like it should be opened up more.
Educate more men about these things.
Yeah, and we should definitely have more responsibility on men for their responsibility in their sexual lives with women.
Yep.
Because let's be honest, well, a man can impregnate like 50 women at once, where a woman can only get pregnant once at a time. So, for example,
there are other cases of multiple children.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, because sometimes, you can deposit 2 eggs at the same time. Yeah. And then 2 separate partners.
But you know what I'm getting at.
Very rare.
It's not the common. It's not the norm. Whereas, like, say, for example, a woman could carry a fetus to term every 9 months. Whereas a man could go out and, have sex with a woman every single day. And then, he's got, like, endless amount of babies, considering, like, if he's quite fertile and obviously things are right. Because I feel like there's a misconception about how easy it is to get pregnant. It can be very easy to get pregnant, but you have to think about the fact that it has to be during certain periods of a woman's cycle that you can get pregnant and everything like that. And that's another not common knowledge. Unfortunately, sex education is lacking, and a lot of people have the misconception that a woman can get pregnant at any point in the month, whereas the chances of her getting pregnant outside of ovulation and stuff like that are extremely low.
Yep. Yeah, it's strange though. Like, just that people don't want to learn more about these things, and like learn to kind of avoid consequences of things like that. It's just really strange that people don't put that time in. There's accidents too. Mistakes can happen too, where
mistakes can happen. You can do everything right and you can still accidentally get pregnant. It happens.
Yep.
It's not always 100% protected.
And like a lot of people are asking, like personally, my stance on the whole abortion debate. My answer to that is I don't have ovaries. So
Yeah.
I'm pro-choice, but
Same here.
I don't have those parts, so I can't make that decision for you.
Yeah. So this is something as well that's a very controversial topic. I'm pro-choice. I'm definitely a person that believes that it's your body, your choice. But this is the thing. People have the argument of what about the man that got her pregnant? It's like, well, the man that got her pregnant doesn't want to take the responsibility for getting her pregnant, so why does he have any say in whether she chooses to keep the fetus or not? At the end of the day, a lot of the times people get coerced into keeping their child, and then they have to have a child that they don't resent, but they didn't want in the first place, and then they have to live with that guilt. And then there's other circumstances like bringing a child into the world that you can't afford, bring it like, or for example, where if you get pregnant and it's what's the fuck, I can't remember the correct term for it, but where the egg implants in the fallopian tube causing
Ectopic pregnancy.
Thank you. Where both the mother and the child will die. Or, for example, someone who gets pregnant while they're going through chemotherapy and stuff like that. There's so many instances where medically an abortion is needed. And it's not even just that, it's the fact that why would you want to bring a human being into this world that you don't want? That's just going to end up in another generation getting fucked up mentally. Let's be completely real here.
I mean, it's completely contextual, though. That's the thing about these issues. There's so many different things that go into this, so many different circumstances that you can't just pass one judgment about it.
Exactly.
It's not possible to do that and cover all your bases. Like, you can't physically do that. And again, I don't have a uterus. So, like, at least I don't think I do. I haven't checked, but...
Haven't checked in a hot minute. But no, I just believe that every individual has a right to choose, and this is my personal opinion, and if people don't agree with me, that's fine. In my personal opinion, if the fetus isn't liable to live outside the womb, then it very much is still the woman's choice no matter what. Like, if a fetus cannot physically survive outside the mother's womb, then it doesn't get more rights than the woman. And even so, like, late term abortions do happen, but obviously a lot of the time they are extremely medically necessary. For example,
again, completely contextual though. Like,
again, it depends on context.
Yeah, there's so many different circumstances, like way too many to list all of them to be able to have an actual stance on how that all works. And again, I don't have a uterus, so I don't have any candle in this fight. But
I mean, it's nice to hear other people's opinions, and having someone who doesn't have a uterus that is pro-choice, it helps. It does help. I might be non-binary, but I still have a uterus. So.
I don't have a uterus, so I can't make that decision for you.
You know what I mean?
I mean, what about adoption? I have a lot of friends who came from the adoption system who are wonderful, well-adjusted, balanced human beings.
I do have something to put in here, though, if that's okay.
Go.
It's fine saying, oh, put the child up for adoption, but if, for example, you're in a country like America that doesn't have free healthcare, what about the medical bills that comes with having a child and birthing a child? You still are responsible for them. If the people who say, oh, put the child up for adoption are willing to pay for the medical bills, sure. And not only the medical bills, but the mental torment of it all, because a lot of the time, the women who give up their babies get attached. And obviously that's not every time. That's not every single time. But there's a lot of cases where women get attached to their children and then they have no legal rights to keep their baby because obviously they've given it up for adoption and stuff like that. It's very contextual again. But there's still medical bills that go into having a child. There's still mental strain that goes into having a child.
Yeah. In the UK, it's actually pretty good, the system here.
Oh yeah, no, the system's really good, but it still doesn't mean that you don't get mentally fucked by, birthing a child and carrying it to term.
Yeah, you're thinking more on the mother's side of the spectrum. But I mean, there's so many, like, I have a lot of friends who went through that system in this country, and they're all probably some of the most well-adjusted, like, balanced human beings.
I've seen some of the care system, and I know people in the care, like, they've come from the care system, and they've been treated right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of horror stories from other places in the world that don't have as good care systems as we do over here. But
That sucks.
again,
That absolutely
it does
sucks.
suck. It shouldn't be that way at all. But again, I still think about it from the mother's perspective, from the woman carrying the fetus perspective. But yeah,
Yeah, exactly what Morak's saying there as well. A friend of mine who was adopted this way, sometimes people adopt pre-birth, and usually the adoptive family will pay for any medical bills, which is nice.
yeah,
That's cool.
I mean, if you're again, it depends on what the person wants to do. If a
It's
woman gets pregnant and doesn't want to abort it, but
yeah.
thinks I could give this child to a family who deserves it, then
Mhm.
that's fucking wonderful. That's amazing. Like, but I just don't think you should be forced into that option.
No, but again,
Like the adoption
it's all
system can be
contextual.
great. Again, yeah, it's all
There's
contextual.
people
This
who
is why I'm
find out they're pregnant
pro-choice.
way late.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I mean, there news articles about a woman giving birth in the toilet of a bar. She didn't know she was pregnant.
yeah.
That can happen.
Or she was in, or there was a woman in a hotel that gave birth and was like, I feel like I feel like I'm giving birth, and then like 5 minutes later she's ringing the ambulance
She's
because
like,
she is
I'm
giving
giving
birth.
birth. Fuck. Imagine that. Imagine the fear
Right?
of that. Like,
That
you're just hanging
scares
out. You're
me.
like, fucking, I feel a little heavier, but we're fine. We're fine. I'm vibing. And then it's like, oh, what's this pain? I'm gonna kind of prefer how it's done over here. Women in the UK have 6 weeks after birth before they sign anything, but they go into foster to adopt placements during that placement.
I mean, I like the system in the UK. I
Yeah.
feel like it's been done very well. Um, but again, I just feel like every single individual has a right to choose what they do.
Mm.
Because let's be honest, it's wonderful that the adoption system is really good over here, but at the same time, I just think of I wouldn't personally want to go through that myself. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to if like someone asked me, "Hey, would you be a surrogate?" Like, depending obviously who it was, I'd happily do that for someone that I genuinely care about and love and everything like that. But if it's an accidental pregnancy of mine, I don't think I would personally want to go through having to give the child up for adoption, everything like that, and going through that. If that makes sense. But that's me personally. I am different to obviously every individual that
Yeah.
has a uterus is completely different.
Yep.
So everyone has I just personally believe that every single individual has the right to choose what happens to their body.
Exactly. And again, as a biological male, I don't have a uterus, so I can't make that decision for you. I could support you. I can't make that decision for you.
Yeah, and again, that's what we need in the world. It's just not people without uterus saying to the people who do have uteruses, saying like, "Hey, I want to control what you do with your body."
Excuse me,
Hey.
but your uterus is my business. It's exactly what we were saying about before, though. People tend to just butt into stuff that they have no candle in.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's fucked. It's fucked. But,
It is fucked.
I mean, there's positives and negatives to everything, and again, I hate to fucking say it for the 900th time, but it's so contextual.
Yeah. There's
You can't blanketly say one thing.
Yeah, without context, you cannot make final decisions on a lot of things. Like if you have no context for something, then you really can't comment on it.
Yeah.
So again, it's all situational, it's all contextual, and it should be the individual's right, and not just to do with abortions, but you know what you do with your life in general should be the individual person's right to choose.
The same with what you do with your body. I remember I got blood taken a few months after I had that surgery done, and they were asking me, "Oh, hey, you know, have you had any surgical procedures done recently?" And I was like, "Oh, I had a vasectomy," and she's like, "Why?" I was like, "So I don't have kids. What do you mean, why?" She's like, "You're a bit young. Have you not? What if you want kids later?" And it's like, "I'll adopt." Why was this any of your fucking business? Like, I just told you. You asked me about the surgical procedure. Cool. I told you. You don't have to judge me for that.
So that is another thing as well. A lot of obviously it happens to men with testes and everything like that as well. But a lot of the time, if someone with a uterus wants to get sterilized, what really winds me up is saying, what if your future husband wants kids and stuff like that? That conversation, or you're too young to know that you don't want kids and everything like that. It's like, well, no. If someone has known from like a child that they don't want children themselves and don't want to bring another life into the world, they have the right to choose whether they want to get sterilized or something like that, because like you said, adoption is a thing.
Yeah. And just seeing Morak's message there as well, I see the general problem is that the right is fine and all, but there needs to be an increase in prevention, and then also access for those in need if birth control or abortion. Agreed, but we kind of covered that as well. We kind of said the education needs to be better on this, that there is, preventative options out there, and generally people need to learn more about it.
You got to think that no contraception is 100% effective. Like,
None of
people
it
misconcept that it is. I've met so many people that think, oh, I used a condom, she couldn't have got pregnant, it's not mine. It's like, no, condoms break,
can definitely happen.
Yeah, or, oh, she was on the pill. It's like the amount of people that actually get pregnant while they're on birth control, such as the pill, is it's quite shocking, actually, because you've got to remember that it's not 100% effective. Even if you stack birth control on birth control, you're still not 100% safe. If you choose to have sex, you need to understand what could be the consequences of it, whether you're a male or a female.
The only 100% way to not get someone pregnant is to not have sex. That's it. Unfortunately.
It's very true. It's very true from any part. See, Sarah's just
My sister was on the pill and her BF used a condom, and now I'm an aunt. It happens. I'm just saying, it literally happens.
Their nephew has better eyebrows than I'll ever have in my entire life, and I'm really freaking jealous about that.
Flynn says, or oral.
Or oral.
You might get Tommy pregnant.
But no, I mean, this is the thing. People do need educating a lot more on sex education. That's why I'm very grateful to the system in the UK, where we get taught very young, very early on, about how our bodies work and how sex works. And the fact that I was educated to know when I went on birth control, when I was in a straight passing relationship, that it wasn't 100% effective and I could still get pregnant, and I had to be prepared for if I did and stuff like that, and talk about. And what is really important as well is to talk about the person that you're having sex with, about consequences. Like, I think it's very important to open it up to a partner to say, like, hey, what would we do in this scenario? What would how would we go about, like, do you want kids? Do you want to, be serious? Like, it's very important to analyze what you want from the person that you're having a sexual relationship with, whether it be romantic relationship as well, whether it be long term, whether you're looking to marry the person or you're just hooking up for a one night stand. It's definitely important to think about and at least open a dialogue to say, hey, if I fuck you and get pregnant, what happens next? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, it's also a bit of a downer though on a one night stand though, isn't it? Like, hey, we got this. But what if I get you pregnant?
Definitely, it's a bit different with one night stands, but you got to think. Like, I'm not being funny.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. People need to think about the consequences.
They do need to think about it, because it happens a lot where one night stands end up leading to pregnancy. So if you're the one carrying a uterus, knowing that you're never gonna have contact with that person again because you guys don't even exchange numbers or fucking real first names, then you've got to. I mean, Flame's right, oral.
But also,
you got to think
oral in a lot of cases, you're more likely to get an STD from than the other way.
That's another thing you got to think about is, are you protecting yourself against STDs? I won't personally have one night stands, but I don't judge people who do, because I'm more of a cautious cat and I'd rather have sexual relationship with someone that I'm in a relationship with. But that's my personal preference, and I'm not going to judge someone who goes around and has one night stands, because you might not want relationships, and that's completely valid. It's better than fucking somebody around and lying to them about your intentions. But you got to think about what might happen.
Once you know the person and you trust them and you learn about what each other like, that's way better than just randomly bonking someone.
Personally agree. Honestly, being able to develop a really good sexual relationship with someone is the bee's fucking knees, dude. Like, I understand some people really do like the idea of, having sex with strangers and stuff like that, but if you're going to do that, you definitely need to think about what could come of it. STIs, pregnancy, what are you prepared to deal with, kind of thing. You've got to think about your own safety first, and how these things might affect your life. So not gonna judge you if you're the kind of person who likes having sex with like a random person you go clubbing with once a week or something. Like that's completely valid, but you got to think about the consequences of what might happen.
Quinn, roleplay is a different set of people each night. I mean, you could. What if you're shit at roleplay though? It's like, hey Jeff, can you be a doctor? All right, love. Let me just get my syringe. You know, it's not gonna work, is it? Then get better. I mean, yeah, get acting classes. Hey Jim, why are you in acting classes? So I can do my wife better.
I think it's really important to discuss with your partner about what you want in the bedroom and
masks.
You know what?
Yeah, masks.
I'm not saying anything right now. Looks at the Huntress mask behind me.
Yeah. I surprisingly don't have any masks in here. I don't even own any masks anymore. Wow.
Actually surprised by that by you, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a spandex green morph suit, but
I'm still offended you didn't wear that for this.
I forgot it existed until that conversation, okay?
Just be a floating head on stream.
Yeah. I could literally do that, and I'm going to at some point. I need to find it.
Please.
And like I need
to see this.
Like deep wash it so it's like super green, so it works really well with the green screen. And it's gonna I'm totally gonna do that. Just cut the head part off so it's just my head, and I could just be like
just floating head, just like woo.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I do have a comment on what Sarah put about being 100% serious every time the discussion about sex education has come up. I'm always genuinely shocked when Cosmic has talked about what their sex ed was like in school, because again, America and Texans, sex ed isn't a thing, and it's truly concerning, which it is. I've spoken to Sarah a few times, and they received no sex education, and they are a fully grown person, and they received nothing during their time in education or outside of education. It's shocking. It's really bad.
That's kind of scary. It's like, what do I do with my thing? Where does it go? What do I do?
I thought sex education was available to everybody everywhere, but I was sorely mistaken, because the amount of people that I've met that literally have no idea how their own bodies work, it's kind of scary, dude. It's kind of scary.
I mean, Scotland as a whole is very good for it, but I mean, there's always things to improve on too.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, just education's so important. It needs to be
education
done
is so important.
It
does. Like, I mean, I got it was, for me, it was in year, I can't remember how old I was, but it was like year 4, year 5, when I was like 11, and they made your parents sign consent forms that we could get sex education, because obviously under age of consent forms to be able to teach us that kind of thing. And we started sex education then and got it thoroughly throughout the years, as well as sex educational posters in the girls' bathroom in schools and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure about the men's. I'm not sure if they had it or not, but there were definitely educational posters everywhere to teach us about sex ed. There was, it was available in the nurse's office. Like, you could go to the nurse's office and get stuff like free condoms and stuff like that. Or even free sanitary products if you needed sanitary products, which is great. And it's just stuff like that. I feel like that should be the very basic, that should be the bare minimum for kids and young adults and teens and stuff like that. That should be the bare minimum, that we have those options available.
That's what Flame just said. We had a group come in, do a stage play, shouted, "Don't do sex," and then literally threw condoms into a group of 15-year-olds.
Please.
We blew them up and used them as water balloons. I mean, you would at 15. You'd be like, hey, fucking free water balloons, let's go.
So I've talked to a lot of people who had the assembly where they put a condom on a banana. We had a full-on massive dildo, like suction cup dildo, whipped out this woman's bag, and she was showing us how to put a condom on that. And I was like, well, I'll give her points for accuracy.
We had a cucumber.
But imagine how much...
It's like, Jesus Christ, how well equipped do you think we all are? We're fucking kids here, dude. Like,
imagine a group of 15-year-olds seeing a big, massive dildo with a suction cup coming out, and she just sticks it onto the table, and we hear all the squelch noises of it sticking. Imagine how seriously a bunch of 15-year-olds took that, and just watching her caress it to put the condom on. Could not take it seriously. I don't think I would do that now as a friggin' adult.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Just a bit.
Only boys were allowed to do the condoms too? Excuse me?
Excuse me? It's so important to teach women how to put condoms on if they're going to engage in heterosexual sex.
Oh no, Cosmic, this play had a guy in a full dick suit and then 2 dancers came out and slid a bag over him.
Okay, flame wins. Flame wins.
What
I'm
the
sorry.
fuck school did you go to? Was this circus school?
I'm just imagining this guy in a dick suit. Just like with the
I think I've seen that fucking
just...
costume on, like, you know, those Halloween sites. There's totally
like where his arms come out just over the balls and his face comes out just before the friggin' the end. And he's just stood there like, don't do sex.
There was a rap. No.
A rapping dancing penis, please.
And then some dancers came out and put it. Flame, I think when I come to visit you, I may have to educate you about some things. I'm concerned now.
But another good thing, the tea video. We literally spoke about this earlier. The consent is like tea video. Yeah. I had to show that to Sarah because they had never heard of it. And I was like, and that was when it came to the realization that only British kids got that. And I was like, what? Why is not everybody getting the consent tea video? Because it's such a good way to teach kids about consent.
Yeah. I mean, no means no. Maybe means no. A sigh and yes me also means no. Just
anything other than an enthusiastic fuck yeah is a no.
Some unconscious people do want tea, though. I don't think that's the right analogy for it, because sometimes when I'm asleep and if I get woken up with a cup of tea, fuck yeah.
CNC is a thing. Yeah, but that's something you have to discuss into detail with your partner beforehand. To be like, hey, wake me up with a cup of tea. I would love that. You know, CNC kinks are a thing, but it's something that you have to do where you've got to discuss it with your partner, and it's got to be, you know, it's got to be someone that you trust, in my personal opinion. If you're doing it with someone that you don't trust, it ain't going to go down well, personally.
Give a crap. Don't forget to rap. Fuck. Okay. I think we've made good time with this now. This is just kind of flown and exploded. And before we get way too specific about individual kinks, I think we maybe wrap this one up.
Unconscious people might want tea.
Top of periods around seeing bleeding. I thought I was dying. Yeah, it's like you don't know anything about it and blood comes from you. You're gonna be fucking terrified.
Literally. I was fully educated before that happened to me, so I was lucky. But imagine the fucking fear some people have when it's like, excuse me? What is happening to my body? Am I dying? This is it.
I'm in a lot of pain and I'm bleeding for some reason.
I've had people that genuinely didn't know what a period was, and when they got their periods, they ran to their parents screaming and crying, thinking they were genuinely needing to go to hospital because they weren't educated on what a period was. It's bad, and I feel like there's a lot of misconception with that as well. Like people think, the boys think it's gross and stuff like that. It's like, oh, even girls think it's gross, and anyone can think it's gross. And it's like, it's not gross. It's just a natural part of having a uterus.
Yep.
For a lot of people who have a uterus. Some people don't have periods, and that's completely valid too. But the norm is if you have a uterus, you get a period. So, you know, educate people on that too, and stop having the friggin' misconception that it's gross when it's just
not gross.
Natural.
It's just a thing that happens. It's normal.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you get yourself a slight cut. You think that's gross? No, it's just fucking blood.
Well, it can be pretty gross if it gets infected and it's all fucked up.
You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean. Unless you have like a fear of blood. It's just blood. Grow up.
So, Cosmic, where can people find you?
Where can people find me? I'm across a lot of social media platforms. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Twitter. I've got social links, everything like that. You can find me in Discord. I'm in Wook's Discord. Because why wouldn't I be? He's amazing.
Along with the other 6 people.
Listen. Small is not always bad, my dude.
I've been lied to.
But yeah, you can find me on a lot of social media platforms: Twitch, Twitter. I'm on TikTok, but I don't really post there. Discord, and a lot of the times my name is the same. It's just Cosmic Bunny, except from on Twitter where it's Cosmic X TTV. But yeah, that's about it. And if you ever want to reach me, you can always be like, "Hey, Wookie, what about that cosmic bitch that came onto your podcast?"
Yeah, that fucking cool person with the cool hair and the cute dog. Can I speak to them?
I will give you the cute dog. All right.
Don't give your dog away. Hey, Grumpus.
Not literally give you a dog. Do you want a treat, baby? He's too busy laid down.
One more for the road. Oh.
He's up. He cannot say no to a treat.
Look how delicately he takes these.
He does. He takes them so nicely.
Good boy.
He's such a sweetheart, isn't he?
Yeah, anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure, Cosmic. Thank you for starting this off with a bang and getting into some real serious shit.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute honor. I've really enjoyed myself.
I'm going to move on to some video games. I think I'm going to jump in and play some V Rising if Trivia is still playing that. Let's see.
I should probably take someone for a walk, shouldn't I? Do you want to go walkies?
Okay.
I think someone wants to go walkies.
Yeah, take that boy for a walk.
Definitely.
So, guys, I will be right back. Everyone say goodbye to Cosmic.
Bye, guys. Have a wonderful day. Oreo also says bye.
And I'll get the green screen and everything going. Let's go. Bye.